my son came home with a drawing and showed me this strange-looking woman flying around. I said, "What is it?" He said, "It's Lucy in the sky with diamonds." And I thought, that's beautiful. I immediately wrote a song about it.
Welcome everyone to our design team discussion. My name is Liz Clayton. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the marketing and communication manager at Bluecoats, and I'm the moderator of tonight's discussion. As you probably know, on Tuesday we announced our 2021 show, Lucy. We're so excited to get back on the field this summer after a very long intermission. Tonight I'm going to be joined by John Vanderkolff, Bluecoats' artistic director and visual designer, Dean Westman, our program coordinator, and Mike Scott, our CEO. I'll let everybody introduce themselves quickly, and then we'll dive into some questions. And if you do have any questions along the way, feel free to post them in the comments, and we'll try to get them in as we go. And we'll start with Mike, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, I'm Mike Scott. I'm the CEO at Bluecoats.
Oh, we're keeping it that brief.
Dean, I'm sure you'll be longer. I don't have anything interesting to say about myself.
You can go ahead, John.
John?
Oh, we can't hear you.
I can't hear John.
Nailed it.
There we
Perfect.
go.
How about now?
Yeah,
I'm John Vanderkolff, and I'm the artistic director for the Bluecoats. Hi, everyone.
Hi, guys. My name is Dean Westman, and I'm the program coordinator for the Bluecoats, and we're really excited to talk about drum corps again.
That's for sure.
Awesome. So we just watched the show announcement video. I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about the inspiration behind the video.
Behind the video specifically?
Yeah. I don't know, this might be John.
I'm going to let John do that because, I mean, it goes to what the core of the show is, but
Well, I haven't thought about it. Okay. The inspiration behind the video. Well, I was trying to capture everything and, capture the essence and the spirit of the show, in a minute, without giving too much away, because then it becomes boring, I suppose. But also, looking back to 2019, and then looking at the possible progression that we're choosing to go, into this next year, which is what, 2021. So it was a lot of work with our guy Griffin and Mike Scott and Matt Jordan and myself and Dean, others just consulting and stuff like that. But I think they did a great job with it. I think it's certainly inspiring. Not only I think for our performers, the audience, hopefully, but for us as designers. You know what I mean? It seems pretty magical and inspiring to kind of explore what the essence of what that video portrayed.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think we went through we went through dozens of revisions. Really, I think that Griffin and our editing team got a little sick of us, but it was cool to kind of get to this far out, get to question so many things, like what do we want the video to say, what don't we want the video to say, what questions can it raise versus what can it tell us about the show. And ultimately, I think I really liked, John, when you and I were kind of having a conversation, we were like, well, it's just intermission, and intermission is over. And how do we say that in a video? Well, it's easy. Intermission is over, and then John, I think you had the idea about like the lobby tones that everyone who's ever been to the opera or orchestra or something or Broadway, the tones play in the lobby, and it's time to take your seats. And I think that really kind of captured something for me personally, like, oh, I get it. I understand. We're taking our seats, we're sitting down, and we get to watch Act 2.
Going along with the video, I know normally the show video is a little bit later, the premiere to be exact. Why did we do it earlier this year? I don't know if you want to take that, Mike.
Well, if you had led it up to the design team, they would rather us announce it 4 seconds before we go. But this year is different than any other year. We all know that. We've spent a year off. And so we kind of talked about how this is an opportunity for us to flip the script a little bit and for us to talk about the show now and bring people in, let people kind of have, one more day of drum corps than they thought they would have had. And now we get to do things like this and spend the next 2 months leading up to our premiere on August 1st, talking about what it is we're doing, whether it's the show or bringing the drum corps back to life or, re-engaging students, whatever those things are, artistic or programmatic. So it was a great opportunity, I think. And I think I personally felt so relieved to get excited about drum corps again. Even though I'm playing drum corps every day, I got to get excited about a show. And I think that's cool for the Bluecoats community too. And I think, we shared that amongst the team yesterday.
That is a lovely politically correct answer, Mike. If it was up to me, I would have announced this show the day after finals 2019. Like, that's where I'm serious. And that's what I would want our friends to know, and our alums and our fans and all of that to know is all along. Sorry if I'm jumping ahead in your questions, but I think people want to get to kind of the crux of what this thing was. All along, not all along, but pretty early on, I'm gonna say it, like in spring training of 2019, you would hear John and Jim Moore start talking about this thing as a 2-act show. And it reminded me, like, wow, this probably is how Blast was, how they got there. And so it always resonated with me, especially when I saw at the time how many awesome things were not going to make it into this show. Mm-hmm. And they were pretty adamant about it. And I don't know, anybody who was at the Bluecoats banquet the day after finals knows where I personally stand on it, which I was not done with the Bluecoats. So we released it because why not? We've been thinking about this thing since before the 2019 season started. So like going into before there was opening night 2019 Detroit, I guarantee you those two people for sure, John and Jim, were in a headspace of there is a larger idea here that this could be a part of. So yes, we tend to wait to the last second to release things. But as I always say when I'm talking, it's for no other reason other than we want to give ourselves and the kids every minute to figure it all out before it becomes public, just like a Broadway show would want to do. But Mike's right. This is different. And we're going to throw back the curtain more for the fans. We're certainly going to do it for our members and in a pretty big way. We want them to see, because they're future directors, they're future designers, and we want to give them that experience where they get a little bit of a glimpse as members as to how we do things that will hopefully help them connect when they get out into the music ed world. So that's the longest answer ever. But this whole thing really has been a long time coming, and well before any competition happened in the year 2019, and certainly well before all of us had the words, global pandemic in our vocabulary.
Awesome. And that definitely answers, I think a lot of people are wondering if this is the show that was planned for 2020. That definitely sounds like, yes, this is the one that we were going to go with. So I'm doing it again.
It is. And can I'm gonna step on you again. One thing I think is, because I think this summer is so cool, especially now that we're getting good news, on the health front as far as where things are trending. And I'm so excited for so many things. I'm excited for the corps that are doing what I would call more like the greatest hits. Like, I cannot personally wait to see Phantom Regiment do that. I'm excited that we're doing this, and I'm excited. I see the whole thing as such a fantastic kickoff to what will be the 50th anniversary for the Bluecoats and for DCI. But as for us, one thing that I'm really, really proud of is things will be changed because we have, there's a framework we have to work within. But our goal is to deliver as close to an experience for those young performing artists as they would have gotten in 2020 if there never would have been a pandemic. There's things we cannot fix. There's certain big events that just aren't happening that we can't solve that. But I know this team and I know these members, the veterans and the new kids coming in. Our goal is when people see us ultimately in Indianapolis, that 10 minutes or so, you forget all this nonsense happened, and you just get lost in Act 2 after the world's longest intermission ever.
Yeah.
Mike, I guess specifically for you,
Yeah.
what does this season look like for Bluecoats? It's obviously shortened, but what does it look like?
Yeah, I'm glad Dean mentioned, the program and our approach to, making the drum corps look, like it always has, and approaching this from the same artistic and excellence levels that we have. But we all know that the season is going to be shorter. So starting with what we know, and that's the tour, we're leaving on August 1st. We're going to do 2 concert events here in Canton, Ohio. We actually have an exciting announcement planned for that first event, our opener, so to speak, on August 1st. We'll have some more information on that, so stay tuned. But we'll start here in Canton, and then we are headed out to Boston, and we're doing kind of an East Coast tour, Quincy, Lawrence, and Lynn, I think in that order, on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And then we're headed to Allentown for the weekend. Allentown's just one night this year, but it's still happening. A lot of great acts are there, including the Cadets and the Boston Crusaders. Then we're headed back here, right back to Canton, doing a show in Akron, the same day that we're all used to having the great Akron show that we have on the Monday of finals week, as we call it. So we'll have that event, another great lineup. Then a little bit different than what we're used to. Normally, DCI hosts the Open Class Championships in Marion, Indiana on Tuesday, but that day is going to be a world-class show, I think with some other Open Class acts in Marion again. So Bluecoats will actually be back at our spring training home of Marion, Indiana, and we're going to do a show there. It's a beautiful brand new stadium. And then it's championships week, so to speak. The DCI celebration, as we're calling it. It's 3 nights, just like always. All the great acts that we're used to. And it's going to be a really cool combination of what we're used to seeing, drum corps act after drum corps act after drum corps act, but also a celebration of all sorts of other cool things that drum corps and the students inside of these drum corps do. We're going to see percussion ensembles play stuff. We're going to see soloists. We're going to see ensembles. We're going to see digital presentations from drum corps that aren't there. I don't want to speak too much for what DCI has planned. And John knows a lot of what's going on because he's been doing some great work on the steering committee that's talking about all this stuff. But I know that I'm personally really excited to see this new format for the DCI celebration weekend, because it's a great combination of everything we love about the Bluecoats and about championships and all of that, also with this great celebration of all the cool things that we're going to do because of the pandemic.
Awesome. I'm just taking a look at some of the questions here.
Do that. I'll talk about spring training then, so to speak. So
sounds great.
Before we go on tour, we're doing the same thing that we're used to doing. We got to go learn the show, right? And Indiana Wesleyan University in Marion, Indiana is an amazing partner, and we're going to return there to Marion. And in a lot of respects, it's going to be a lot like a normal spring training. We're just going to learn the show, and John Vanderkolff and Jim Moore are going to do all the incredible things they do in real time with our students and molding and creating a show, all the things that we normally like to do behind the scenes, and when we're keeping the show secret, because we love to create in real time, and John does an incredible job leading that effort. But we're also going to do those other things that I'm talking about. We're going to highlight the incredible talent that our students have. We're going to do daily live streams like this. We're going to kind of open it up a little bit more because people are used to engaging with us in July, and this is a really cool opportunity for us to, to open ourselves up and let people in, since everyone has been away from drum corps for so long.
I'm looking here at the chat that I can see on the screen, and I'm in a transparent move, so this is where you could either mute me or we could pass things off to John. But no, there's a lot of people that are asking about the look of next year, the scenic design of next year. And I think I want to be open and honest. So first of all, just the thing I would say very candidly to the folks when, we're generically saying, well, it's Act 2. Well, what does that mean? And what is this Lucy? Obviously, the whole idea is in the trailer, which is John Lennon's kid, Julian, came home one day and showed him a cool piece of art. And he thought that was awesome. And he wrote a tune about it because he was John Lennon. And that's kind of where we ran with, like that, just that is a premise. And so if you look back at 2019, And it doesn't matter if we can meet you wherever. So if you've never seen 2019, you're going to be in great shape coming to the show. Thank you, Beatles. But if you have the 2019 context, I would say that I thought we were, as fans, so beautifully introduced to Sergeant Pepper, to Eleanor Rigby, to the beautiful Blackbird, to all of that. And all of those characters were something, including some of the soloists that we connected with musically. And we're going to see a lot of those soloists are going to be characters we reconnect with. And Act 2 is simply an opportunity for us to close the door, as we did on what you saw there with Sergeant Pepper, and open a new door and experience a program and an act in 10, 12 minutes of your life through Lucy's kaleidoscope eyes, plain and simple. And I think we've listed the repertoire we're exploring, like Doug and Tom, their treatment that they're working on right now of I Am the Walrus just knocks my socks off. And so the whole idea with Act 2, where we had these silhouettes, these spirit guides that took us through the 2019 show, and then we had the world's longest intermission. Now we're going to experience the whole thing kind of through Lucy's eyes. John, I'd say I'm seeing a lot of people who are asking about the props, the scenic design, and I think there's a positive message in what we're doing, especially, I'm going to say this, for music educators and future music educators out there. I know that we emulate the top drum corps, we emulate the top BOA groups, whatever it is. I want you to know we take that responsibility seriously. So there is going to be a reimagining element to our scenic design that shows fiscal responsibility on Mike's part and Genevieve's part. It's going to show incredible continuity and artistry, I think, on John, Michael, Jim, and Greg's part. And I hope it sends a message to the music ed world that coming out of a pandemic, you don't need to spend $1 million on stuff to get the ball rolling again. And I hope that we're kind of the embodiment of being smart. I don't know if that's saying too much, but I hope maybe you can talk about it a little bit.
Me?
Yeah, John, you go for it.
Yeah. Well, you've been to concerts and things like that in the Act 2. There's a lot of, obviously, things that carry over. And yeah, the fiscal responsibility, sure, we have some parameters that we have to live in to be smart, right? And all that stuff there, but it still makes total sense. The reimagining of what we had plus extra things and stuff like that, but it's all to the storyline. It all goes to the point, kind of that. So that's really all I have to say about that. I'm not going to give everything away because you got to come see us. Yeah,
but it should feel like familiar territory in many ways to folks, and yet obviously we're going to make it feel like a completely fresh space too, because we're taking you to Lucy's world now.
But the one thing I want to say, it's not a repeat of the concept. It's a different concept. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Last year he was talking about the spirit guides, and to me, this whole show comes through Lucy's eyes. This one character and what we imagine her to be. And I don't even know that it's an actual being, but it's a perception, a way to look at the world, which is what that song always meant to me. You know what I mean? It's just something absolutely beautiful and things you don't necessarily understand, but somehow they all go together to create something, that is inspiring and hopefully emotionally, connects with you. And
Absolutely.
and I could say we have it all figured out, but that's the joy of the way we get to do it, thankfully, for the Bluecoats, that you come in with these ideas and these intentions, and then we get together for 4 weeks and we play in this world, and what comes out, it comes out. You know what I mean? And
And I see a great, John, I see a great comment kind of question. Hold on. Did you lose me?
No,
we got you.
I can't see you guys, but you can see me now. So I'm just gonna keep running with it. I'm on my wife's laptop. But somebody was just asking about the level of detail, that we're gonna have, knowing that it is a shortened season and whatnot. Mike asked that, and I think we talk about that so much, Mike. And I will just tell you that we're trying to be really, really smart about it. But my personal hope and expectation from a delivering to the kids and the fan standpoint, is I would use like opening night in the past as a great example. I couldn't tell you placements or scores or whatever, but I can tell you that in pretty much every year I've been involved with the Bluecoats, when we come out and we crush ourselves to get to this place, but I always think like, that's a really good drum corps and that's a really refined product. I feel like we really do try to pride ourselves, because the thought process is people who are coming to that show in Detroit are paying a ticket just like the folks who are coming to DCI finals. So we really try to come out knowing we're obviously going to get better and the show's obviously going to evolve. But the goal is always to like, let's come out and be as just unbelievably refined, produced, perfected as possible. That has not changed at all. I would say what's changed is we have less time then to do something with it on the road. So we got to make sure that we have it right, how we want it coming out of the gates. And when I say right, I mean right for the fans and right for the kids. There's no judges this year. We don't consider that in competitive years. Never. It's always about like what's going to be memorable and amazing and all of that. And so none of that has changed. So I would love to hear I would love Mike to find me in Indianapolis, and I would love his honest opinion when it's all said and done about, did we realize like something pretty cool with it? Or did it feel like it was a pandemic and that's all they could pull off? Because our goal and our dream is for every one of these kids to have the same magical feeling of connection with the audience that they had when we did Act One.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely.
Yeah. I was going to ask John, do you anticipate any big changes to show design due to shortened season? So going along with this, but also somebody asked earlier, in 2019, there was kind of another ending that developed as we went and we changed the ending. So I'm wondering, what that's
right.
going to look
I
like.
think I can talk to this a little bit. So realize that this is a thought that's been happening probably since spring training of 2019. So I don't know how many years that is. It's a long time. That this has been brewing. You know what I mean? And in a lot of ways, a lot more thoughts are more bad words, but are more thought out than they would be in a typical kind of year. So I think we've already done the what ifs and that with a whole lot of things. So there'll be still a bunch of trial and error, when we get to spring training. But I think a lot of the bigger questions have been answered. And honestly, the amount of music, like the whole goal of this thing is that our performers, those that are on the high guys, come in super prepared. You know what I mean? It's not going to be your typical spring training as far as how the time is organized and stuff like that. We're doing everything we can in this new virtual world that has been created for us, and we've created for ourselves to get as much done right now. Like the performers now have so much music, already, and by the time they get there, that should be well under their fingers and under their hands and all that kind of stuff there. So we can just go. So in a way, some areas there's going to be more time. Yeah, and then the question is like, did a lot of things change? Yeah, I don't really know. I don't really know. This is the show we're living with, and this is the show we're excited to do, and we're inspired to do it. I don't feel like I'm shortchanged or anything. It's different. The lack of competition is, for me, awesome. It really is. It's pretty beautiful in a way. And I'm not saying that competition is negative. I just mean for this coming out where we are, where we all are in this year and a half of awful, or a year of awful, to come out and your whole thing is to make your performers and the audience and just anybody that is around you feel better about things. That's a great goal. And that I want to be there for that and live through that. So I'm glad now, you know what I mean, that you don't have to worry about something else, that, we as people put on something. Yeah, if that makes sense.
Yeah, in a way, of course, there have been enormous amount of challenges and things that we've had to deal with as we figure all this out. But in a way, this allows us just to be sort of the purest form of ourselves. Like Dean said, we always create. We create for the kids, we create for the fans, we create for ourselves. And this is, an opportunity for us to do that just like any other year. Of course, it's a little less time to prepare it, and it's a lot less time to show it to the world. But in a way, it's kind of a little reward to ourselves that we just get to go out and do this, and it gets to be Act 2, and now we get to figure out what Lucy's world is. I think I'm very excited about it, and I got especially excited about it yesterday. And John, you mentioned the virtual stuff. We just met about this last night on the design call. The kids have been working so hard. I think we just finished our third camp in the cloud. And then there's 3 more to go. So we're really spending, for people that might be curious, we're spending May and June, even though we're not in person, we're actually meeting 4 times during that period virtually. And all the kids are using Google Classroom and our new partner with Muse Class to engage in music and submit video assignments and play together and ask questions. And it's really kind of cool to see it all come together virtually. The goal being that when we show up to spring training, there's less stuff that's new and being learned in real time, and we're more prepared than ever. So I'm excited to see that come to fruition too.
One of the other things I saw a few people post earlier was potential more backstage access to sectionals and things like that during spring training. And Mike's the boss, but I will be there pushing for that stuff this year nonstop. And it might get to a point on things where I just go Facebook Live personally until they escort me off the campus, because I want every music educator, future music educator, kid who's into this, fan, just to kind of see. I want them to see what we do. And it's absolutely not saying this is the way to do it, but the more ways to do it you see, the better you can be. And so we're going to be as transparent as we absolutely can be, specifically when it comes to educational items. And I would say specifically when it comes to, for you band directors out there, anything that deals with the social emotional learning side of the arts. We deal with that in drum corps too. All right. And so we're going to try to be as transparent as we can on that front, just to help music educators.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I am one and I'm living it. I'm with you, sister. Yeah. Since July, I got 1 more week and then I'm on summer, but I'm with you.
This live stream is kind of the beginning of #TransparentD. You see that? This stream is the beginning of kind of that strategy of what we can do between now all the way through July 31st to, bring more and more people in, whether it's seeing what we do from an educational standpoint or what we do from an artistic standpoint. You're absolutely right, Dean. And the other reality of us not doing 30 shows is, that's hundreds of thousands of in-person interactions with high school students and college students and band directors and fans that we won't have this year. And so live streams like this, but also live streams from spring training and expositions from spring training.
I'm talking like it's 2 a.m. John Vanderkolff is sitting quietly working on part 4. And I bust into his apartment, Facebook Live, and we just go live right there. What are you doing?
You better write the drill right there live. But you're absolutely right.
I will not do that to you, John, but I should.
In the spirit of that, though, this is an opportunity for us to bring people in a new way. They might not be seeing us in Texas this year, but they can certainly engage and see us a little bit behind the scenes. And today's a little bit of an experiment in starting that. I imagine, one of my favorite things is, when I walk out of my dorm in the morning at spring training, you can hear the drum line all the way across campus, playing 8s. And it's such it's another day of drum corps. How great if every morning, people can be online and it's the color guard in dance warm up, or it's the drum line playing 8, or the drum line, in the morning. It's a way for us to bring all those people in when we normally can't. And I personally, the first time, I don't participate in fall band and I don't live in Texas. So I have not heard a marching band or a drum corps live since finals night of since our last audition camp that we would have had in November or December or January of 2020. So when I hear the Bluecoats drum line for the first time all the way across the lake playing a warm up, it's going to be mind blowing to me. And so we're going to share those moments with everybody because it's such a great opportunity to bring everybody in and get excited about the fact that the Bluecoats are back and drum corps is back. Life isn't 100% back to normal, and we know that a lot of people are still kind of facing those challenges, and we certainly are too. And that's something we should maybe talk about quickly too, Liz, is kind of how we're planning from a public health standpoint to do all this. But I'm really excited to bring people in virtually because I think we're all dying for it.
Do you want to talk about that now, Mike? From a
Sure.
public health standpoint? Yeah, okay.
Sure. So, of course, things are changing rapidly, and things change from state to state. And I think a lot of people, I hear a lot of questions, that come to us in DCI. What exactly is happening? When can I buy tickets? Those types of things. And really, the main driver of why we know less right now than we normally do is because things are changing so rapidly. We're all working to make sure that we're on top of it from a public health standpoint. We've got the basics down and we're working really hard on it. We have enough rapid tests to test everybody at the Bluecoats organization multiple times. We're requiring vaccinations for everyone that's going to be sort of in the Bluecoats circle. We have a tiered credentialing system to make sure that we're handling close contacts well and that we are keeping the right cohorts of people together to avoid intersectional contacts. We've been working for months with Indiana Wesleyan University on our plans. We're actually going to have 2 athletic training suites open throughout our whole time there. We hired additional staff that are just going to handle public health administration and compliance and testing and all of those things so that our athletic trainers aren't worried about testing people. They can just be worried about overuse injuries and the medical support that our athlete performers need. So we've worked through all of that, and we've begun to have those conversations with our performers and our staff as well. Of course, we've changed, we've reduced the amount of time that staff come in and out. Staff come in and they stay for longer. All of our staff are vaccinated, for instance. So we've been working a whole lot on all those different types of things and working with all of our venues and working with DCI. And we're approaching this from the standpoint that we're only going to do things that are safe and that discourage infection and that encourage a really great, healthy, and positive environment for everybody. And that's going to be our overriding principle, no matter what we do.
Just pivoting focus here a little bit. A lot of people in the comments are asking about show music. If you go to bluecoats.com/Lucy, the full set list is on that website. You can also pre-order some Kaleidoscope eyes and some t-shirts. So if you want to start getting some Lucy merch, you can just head over to bluecoats.com/Lucy for all of that. I think one last thing here. Somebody asked, so there's no judges, there's no scores this year. Do we have to follow the normal rules?
Do we ever?
So the short answer is yes. All of the DCI directors got together to talk about this a little bit, and we all agreed that we should, within the parameters of public health, we should all, go out and produce drum corps shows because that's what our audience is going to want after this long hiatus. So that's what we've done. There's lots of interesting rules in drum corps. You can't, once something leaves a boundary zone, you can't pick it up and all that kind of stuff. So those rules still exist. In a way, they're sort of unenforceable. But the bottom line, I think the real spirit of that question is this. We're all working on producing drum corps shows. That's what we love. We want to see drum corps. We've been starving. And so that's what you're going to see. You're going to see each of these drum corps put out the best of what they can produce and put out something that's great for their students and put out something that's great for the fans. And like Dean mentioned, we're going to see lots of interpretations of that. We're going to all watch our favorite, most historical moments of the Phantom Regiment, which is, the drum corps that I loved when I was, watching drum corps in high school. And we're all going to see, act 2 of what, where the Bluecoats was at in 2019 and moving forward. So we're going to see all sorts of different things, but they're going to be drum corps shows for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's the corniest saying ever that anybody who's ever gone through a BOA event with Dr. Tim Lotzenheiser at the end always says every student that is here should be in first place for being here in the first place. And I know that's campy, but it's so true this year. And that's my wish for this whole activity is that we rally behind, I hope that Lucas Oil Stadium is as packed as it is safely allowed to be, to celebrate these kids, to celebrate the tradition of this activity, past, present, and next year going into the 50th. We're so excited just to be part of it and to get back at it.
Awesome. I think think that's it. John, do you have anything else to say? We just heard from Mike and Dean. Do you have any last words?
No, I'm excited. It is going to be different. And, I see a lot of the questions kind of asking about 2019 or drum corps, as we know, drum corps. And it is going to be different, and every drum corps that's coming or to DCI or that's doing things virtually and sending stuff in, they're all doing the best they can. Absolutely the best they can. And it's going to be rewarding for those kids. And for me, I'm going to be the biggest fan of anybody out there that's, that's doing anything they possibly can. Because, it's been a long time and they're amazing. Every single one of these performers is amazing. The staffs, all the drum corps are, and just looking forward to with hope, for next year, for 2022, which is, it's crazy. It's the 50th anniversary of DCI, 50th anniversary of the Bluecoats. All these kind of things to look forward to, and in my I don't know, feelings about this thing, it's one big ascension. It's one big ascension to get drum corps back to what it was, and probably even better than what it ever was. And I think this year is truly going to be special. It's going to be different. It's going to be different. And I trust in us. I trust in our team. I trust in the performers that we get to come here, and the audience, because ultimately that's what it's about for us. Is getting the audience to connect and enjoy and take a break from stuff and, feel a sense of normalcy in a way, a different kind of rush than what's been going on the last year. So all that, I'm really, really excited and curious, to see how this is all going to work.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
When we get to the 50th, then we're going crazy.
Yes.
I'm throwing that out there right now. Then we're going nuts.
Yes. Looking forward to it.
Thank you all for joining me tonight, and thank you everybody who tuned in to listen to this conversation. Again, if you go to bluecoats.com/Lucy, you can pre-order some merch, you can check out the set list, you can watch the show announcement video again. All that exciting stuff is happening there. Thank you all very much, and we'll see you all soon.
Thanks so much, guys. See you later.
My son came home with a drawing and showed me this strange-looking woman flying around. I said, "What is it?" He said, "It's Lucy in the sky with diamonds." And I thought, that's beautiful. I immediately wrote a song about it.